Today we are doing another woodworking wheel of misfortune, and I am joined by Stone from Onefinity.
Hey guys.
Up here you can see there's a bunch of different prompts. We're going to be changing this around 3 different times, and whatever we land on we're going to have to incorporate into some type of project.
So this first category is the hobby that it applies to. So
did it even make it around?
I don't think it did. I'm going to do that one more time.
Oh, plants is a good one though.
It is a good one.
Dun, 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 dun. Traveling. Okay, so first up we've got traveling. I think that pink was a bad decision, but it's the decision we made. And next up we're going to be doing style.
And
brutalist.
Okay.
I don't know how we're going to incorporate that into the design. When I was making all these, it made a whole lot of sense, but we'll see. Number 3, this is going to be the twist.
My best van of white
that
here.
Was a really good spin. Split or not required. What do you think of when you think of traveling?
I think of like luggage or things that make organizing things in like a backpack maybe.
There is a project that I've had in mind for quite a while about traveling that I think might work for this, but it's going to require magnets. I'll hold that for a second. Okay, what do you think of when you think of brutalist?
A lot of convention centers and things like that with these massive architectural structures.
I think of different levels. I think of concrete. I think of angles. I think of harsh. Like if a company was brutalist, I'd think of Oakley.
Yes.
Okay, and then split or knot. We're just gonna have to find some wood that has a split or a knot and try to make our project and make sure that that does not hinder it, but it has to be in the project overall. Is there anything that's coming to mind for you? Because it's really sticking with me and I feel like I've at least got to bring it up if you don't have anything.
Not really. All right. Well, something's happening. Now I'm really confused.
So this is a box filled with watercolors. There's projects that oftentimes I think that's a really great idea. It's going to take a lot of time in order to formulate, and I'll get to it one day. So this box of watercolors has been sitting right here in my office for months, and I think today we should make a walnut watercolor case. It already has the brush with it. We can make it magnetic, we can make a top, we can make a bottom, snap it all together so that you can put this in your backpack and it looks really nice.
I promise he didn't plan that. They really were just sitting there.
I
had no idea what was happening.
We need to figure out our material size, our material thickness. We need to figure out the actual sizes of these little watercolor things.
Well, I've got a couple of concerns. Like you said, the watercolor and the wood, water and wood don't always mix. So we are gonna have to put some sort of film finish. Another thing is I'm noticing, this is just being nitpicky, but this case that it came with will retain the brush. And I think it would be really cool if we could figure out a way to make that happen. But at the same time, if we have a magnetic case, that's something we don't have to worry too much about.
So I've got some magnets right here. Is this magnetic?
I doubt it.
No, it's totally aluminum. A 1/4-inch bit is not going to be able to cut somewhere thin enough to be able to retain this.
So we're probably just going to use a 60-degree V and cut a little channel. And then I'm thinking maybe if we offset that instead of putting it in the center.
I wonder if there's a way that we could like cut something on the sides that makes like a little trough that we could somehow incorporate a like a hair tie or something to just like go over that area just to keep it in. I don't know how we would do an undercut to actually retain the hair tie, or if that's making things more difficult, or if we should need to put in like some type of like a screw that's being held by a small piece of material that just swivels on top of it.
Well, even if we don't want to do that, what we could do is we could, if this was our piece here, we could offset it over here so we have a little V groove for that to sit in, and the top could be raised or lowered to hold that in that place, whereas the rest might be recessed more where you have room for your watercolor and your paper on the lid.
That's a good idea. So when the top actually goes down on it, it's just physically...
It's tighter on the brush than it is everywhere else, yeah.
Okay, I like that. That's a great idea. And try and keep things as thin as possible because we need this to be able to fit into a backpack for traveling. Let's get to it.
All right.
Measuring time, it's measuring time. I couldn't find a song after 5 minutes of looking, so I'm singing this song into my phone. It's measuring time. Stone has drawn out kind of the layout that we're looking for.
I did not measure this because I know once we get in there and we arrange all of these little circles, rather than putting them just in a straight line like this, I have kind of offset them just to give it a little more of a personal touch, so it's not the exact same thing. Then we have our brush over on the side. So this is the bottom part. It's the same width as the original case that it came in, but it's going to be a bit longer. The top has a pocket on most of it so that we can put in some watercolor paper. That was a great idea that Hamilton came up with. And then this small piece that I've just scribbled on will not actually be recessed, and that is so that when you put the brush right there, that will hold that brush in place. This is only about 1/8 of an inch thick. We could use a 60-degree V actually, and it would just sit right into that V channel.
Oh, nice. And do you think that we could use the downtown Jenny at the end of it so that we could push it down?
Absolutely.
And then the end would pop up so you're not having to grasp it?
Exactly, because I mean, you got big fingers. You're not going to fit into a 1/4 inch space, but that gives you some room to pop it up.
That's such a great idea. Okay, so what do you think the thickness of our material needs to be?
So, obviously the original cases were, what is that, 3/8 of an inch maybe? Not quite 1/2 inch?
We've got calipers.
How close am I?
All right, that is 0.47 inches. I don't think we're going to be able to get that close. I think we're going to be happy to get it like 0.75 inches.
Yeah, I was going to say 3/4 material, just so we have a little bit extra to work with, because you also have to think this piece of plastic is like a 1/16 of an inch thick, and we're not going to do that with walnut, because if you do that with wood, it's going to split.
A lot of times for myself, I get into the software and I start seeing like realistically what it's going to look like, and I start making some game time decisions. So I think that this is a really great place for us to have started off with. I am thinking that we can take our 60-degree V-bit and then do a slight profile along the lines that we've created so that it not only gives it a very angular look, but it also gives your fingers a place to be able to open this up.
Chamfer.
Yeah, a chamfer, so it's not completely flat, but I do think that we should leave the tops and bottoms and sides very harsh.
I agree, and that will give it more of that brutalist look, because it's not all the same angles.
Yes, not all the same angles, and it's also just like, I don't know, it might be a little bit annoying for a traveler to have something that's so pointy and wood in their backpack, but it definitely is going to scream brutalist. Yes. After a lot of back and forth, this is what we have come up with. It's essentially the same exact thing, but we have 4 different versions with 4 different text on them. Obviously, if you're going to be downloading these files, you don't have to carve the text, but I did want to be able to show off different text that you could put on it. Stone, do you have any thoughts?
I don't know that there's too much that we've changed that we didn't talk about. We did cut off a couple corners just to give it more of that brutalist look. But other than that, we didn't really change a whole lot. It's just, we're excited how this is coming together. I think it's going to be cool.
Well, we were about to start. We had our beautiful piece of walnut and then realized that we had to have a knot or a split, which turns out is a little bit more difficult than I first assumed because I only order FAS lumber. We'd looked forever and we found this old piece of wood that we have right here. It was milled locally. And we are about to flatten it on the CNC machine, get it to our final thickness, lay everything out in Carveco, start cutting. And now we all get to watch Stone manually flatten a piece of wood that he said would be super simple to do, but it really took him about 30 minutes. And I kept saying that we should do a Carveco file, and he said, no, it'll be fine, I can do it manually. And then I just sat around and watched him do this for a very, very, very long time. Looking at the two of us, I look like I did a lot more work than you. We have these, we've got to clean them up, but first and foremost, I want us to put the magnets in before we do any type of sanding, because we're going to be using the belt sander to sand off a lot, and I want to make sure that all these parts match up.
Yep, exactly. So putting those magnets in will just allow us to put them together how they will be when they're finished, and then all of our edges will match up perfectly. So make it quick and easy. Now, I'm finding here that we got these, the tolerance is very, very tight.
Mallet.
So yes, mallet for sure. I really don't know that we even need glue on these. They're so tight.
They are pretty tight. Have you ever sanded a magnet?
I have not,
but
would that not mess up the polarity? Those went in, and I did those without any glue, and they are in there.
And now we're sanding the projects and staining the projects and spraying the projects and acting like the CA glue that we put down next to the magnets didn't react poorly with the stain. It doesn't look horrible at all. So right now what we're doing is we're waiting on the other lacquer to dry, but in the meantime we're going to be cutting out these watercolor pieces that are going to be full inserts into this pocket. All right, while you're finishing that, I will go grab the other ones and bring those in. This wood looks fantastic, especially this specific piece. All that curl in there and dyeing it black.
Oh, it looks so good.
Fantastic. Now we're cutting out the paper to put in the trays, and we're taking all the paint out of the packaging, which was incredibly easy for one of us.
How the heck did you do that so fast? Oh, that one just popped out, okay.
All right, while Stone is finishing up the last of his, what I'm gonna go ahead and do is grab some of the CA glue and put just a dot in each one of them. First came in today, did you think this is what we were gonna be getting up to?
I had no clue what to expect, honestly. The only thing I'm seeing now is just that we may not have
made that deep enough. Uh-oh. Some of y'all out there might be saying you haven't checked that before you kept going. The answer is no.
We did some quick theoretical math. My glue, but
I'm looking at the monitor over here, but oh my gosh.
wow, that looks incredible.
Doesn't it?
Let me finish this one up. We'll
From afar,
see how it
fantastic.
looks with the stain.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, that looked great, man. I'm really pleased with that.
And you're right, that is going to be proud. It's not going to snap closed with it there.
Almost, but not
almost.
It's got about 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little less.
Oh no. I think that just means we need to drop the V-bit more.
Yep, so
the files for this, for all of you CNC With Me members or anybody who is looking to jump into CNC With Me just to get these files, I will make sure that the Carveco and Vectric versions that are already toolpathed ready to save your G-code have the correct depth so that this actually fits in there. A whole lot of making files is trial and error like this because you want to make things tight and make things fit, but you also don't want to cut it out 17 times. So I will go back and make sure all of this fits so that it works properly for y'all.
But I mean, even with the brush not being like that, I think the dark one looks incredible too.
That does. Look at us just praising ourselves. I think we did a very good job. Now something that I do want to bring up is I threw in that little compass rose as we were making this. And Stone and I had a slight disagreement about including graphics in this or not. Do y'all feel like the compass rose adds something to the adventure or the travel side of things? Or do y'all feel like it takes away from it? Please let me know down in the comments below because I think Stone's wrong.
See, the thing is, you didn't tell him which of us had which opinion. There you have it.
Freaking fantastic. Okay, so we went out this morning with a mission. It is now completely at the end of the day. I think we started at like 9 o'clock this morning. Of course we took a lunch, but it is rolling along to 5. So everything that we did today, from concept to design to cutting to finishing and assembly, being completely done with the project, took an entire day.
So you can kind of see the V groove in there, and I think if we had done all the way down to the bottom of that pocket, we would have plenty of clearance because that's going to widen out as it goes deeper.
One of these magnets have been sanded and one of them have not. I know what they are. Feel the difference and tell me if you feel like one is stronger than the other one.
This one's been sanded. Absolutely.
So yes, when you do sand magnets, it does affect things and it does make them weaker. Although I will say that on these two dark pieces right here, if I wouldn't have used CA glue, it wouldn't have affected the stain. But you can see right there, one of them has CA glue and the other one does not.
It's that we used have a really, really tight tolerance. And on mine, I actually didn't use any glue. And I think that worked out well. They still feel like they're secure. But it's going to depend on what you use. I told you, man.
Look at the difference.
I told you, I could not get them out of there. So Hamilton's making fun of me because mine are kind of smushed on one edge.
Kind of smushed. Okay, so
Don't do that.
Here's a little bit more of a close-up. These are mine. Not perfect by any means.
So obviously my edges are not great.
So for y'all at home that are actually wondering what these do say, well, there's 4 different versions. Prone to wander, collect moments, not things. Adventure awaits, and wander often, wonder always. I feel like these are just going to be stereotypical quotes. We have all of these different versions. You are going to be headed back to the office far away from me which one of these would you like to take home?
Oh man, I don't even know. Now I don't want to take my nasty etches. I think I like the natural ones the best, honestly. I really like...
What is that?
What is wonky
Oh,
there?
it's because these weren't matched up. I switched
Oh,
them.
yep, perfect fit now. Okay, that makes sense. I think the finish on this one is by far my favorite. I mean,
I would say it's the best one.
It's beautiful. Right here, we had a little bit of tear out on the corner.
So that was actually the knot. So our twist of being able to go, it has to use a split or a knot. That was one of the knots, and it's a great example about showing that the knot actually chipped out because grain direction, all that kind of stuff. And then the other side has the other knot on it as well. And I also am so thankful that Stone decided to join me in the shop today. It's an absolute pleasure as always, my friend, and I really do appreciate it.
I always enjoy hanging out with you, man. Thanks for having me in the shop today. It's always fun to, you know, sit down and make a little project. And it's always fun to work with other people. So if you're not doing that, I encourage you, even if it's online, just get with people and bounce ideas off of each other. Your products will be better for it.
I fully agree. And if you've never heard of a Onefinity CNC machine, go ahead and check out OneFinityCNC.com where you can check out all of their products. Check out
OneFinityCNC.com.
Check out OneFinityCNC.com, and I will see y'all next Friday. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
It's gonna be a long video, but a good one.